Hi, I'm Dennis D'Amico. I'm an Avalanche meteorologist with the Northwest Avalanche Center here in Seattle. And I want to talk to everyone today about our mountain weather forecast. There's been some changes in the last season and talk about kind of where the forecast has changed over the last year and where it's going in the future and where to find it and how to use it. And secondly, I want to talk about weather station tools. So we've got a new weather station map, which is really neat because it combines all the weather stations in the NWAC network with snow tells. So for the first time, it's really easy to look at these different networks side by side. And then we've got some new weather station tables and that we launched in the last week. We want to make sure everyone can find them and understand the changes. So we're going to do a little demo and go through those changes soon. So let's start with the mountain weather forecast. The easiest way to access the mountain weather forecast is from the drop down bar here and go to mountain weather. We issue a mountain weather forecast twice a day during the regular season. We issue it before 7 a.m. in the morning, and that forecast is for today and tomorrow. And then we issue what we call our flagship forecast, which goes out 3 to 5 days in the afternoon. This is kind of our core product. It supports the Avalanche forecast, and it's the one that's on the website the longest. So key points of either of these forecasts is we start with a weather synopsis, which is a semi-technical discussion of the weather pattern for the next day or two. We have a weather forecast, which is just in simplistic terms what we expect for several areas. We have snow or freezing level, depending on whether or not there's precipitation. We indicate whether or not there's easterly flow, which can influence snow and freezing levels. And we have a precipitation forecast. These are 12-hour precipitation water amount forecasts. That is different than last year where we used to do 24-hour precipitation forecasts. We've pared that back to 12 hours to give you a little bit more idea of when the lighter or heavier periods might be. And the wind forecast for 5,000 and 9,000 feet. So these are all the same variables that were in past mountain weather forecasts. And really the main changes have been focusing, being more specific and clear about the areas where we're forecasting, adding more time steps, more time granularity when it comes to snow and freezing level points. We've added some new points, including Leavenworth for the icicle area, which is relative for the icicle area, and then a Mountaineer Crystal White Pass area. And then also we've differentiated between Stevens and Snoqualmie Pass. And we think that these new temporal steps or time steps plus the layout will help folks get a better idea of what we're trying to tell you with the mountain weather forecast. So now we're going to explore the other location where you can get the mountain weather forecast, and that is right through the Avalanche forecast. So if you go to your favorite zone, let's say it's Stevens Pass, and you've got your Avalanche forecast, you've got your regional synopsis, and then we've got this tab here for weather forecast. And if you click on it, it's going to give you the latest mountain weather forecast within this tab. So you don't ever have to actually leave the Avalanche forecast page if that's what you're most interested in. And where we're going with this in the future is we want to take that large overview mountain weather product that we produce, and we want to parse that data and give you the specific forecast information that's relative to your avalanche zone where you're going to be traveling and making decisions. So look for that change in the next season. Hi, I'm Dennis D'Amico with the Northwest Avalanche Center in Seattle, and we're going to talk about weather station data and how to view it and what's changed over the last year or so. So let's start by going to the observations drop down and go to weather station list. This list here shows a collection of weather station weather stations specific to different areas. And this has changed a little bit in February. And I want to click on these tables here to show you what's changed and why those changes, and tell you why those changes were made. So for the Mount Baker ski area, this is the same presentation of two different stations, one at 5,000 feet, that's Pandome, and one at 4,200 feet, which is Heather Meadows. And what's different from this table in the past is that the most current data is now at the top, and some of these headers have changed here. And if you're confused about what the headers might represent on a desktop, you can just mouse over and it will give you the full title here. And what's also different is that we know that interpreting weather station data can be difficult at times. We want to tell you when weather stations are out, or maybe a piece of equipment isn't working. And right under here, there's this bell here, and there's the number 1. What this is trying to tell you is that there's one message that's related to one of these two stations in the table. So you can click on that and read it, and you'll see that number change as the number of messages come and go. So what's different about this table as well is that we used to present 10-day weather station table data from that list view, and we've changed it to 7-day here within that same table. So you can flip back and forth between 24 hours and a 7-day view. So that functionality has not gone away. It's just included in a different place in the table. So let's back out and go to the weather station list. And I want to familiarize everybody with these different graphs that we have. And if you haven't clicked on one of these, this is a great time to explore your favorite area. And again, you'll see a collection of preset weather stations relative to the area. So for Snoqualmie Pass, we have 3 different stations displaying temperature here. We have 1 station displaying wind. And what's really neat about these graphs are they are incredibly customizable to the point where you can create your set of favorite stations and bookmark it, or you can use our presets, which are set up to meet most users' needs. And I just want to show that within the NWAC network, you can add any weather station that has a corresponding field. So for wind speed, if I want to compare wind speeds at Snoqualmie Pass versus Crystal Mountain and see which place was windier, I can do that right in one graph. I don't have to back out to other pages. I can scroll and look at it for an entire month view. If I want to go to a specific storm and find out what happened, I can do that. So it's really the best place to look at a cross-section of weather stations geographically in our network. So I encourage you to spend some time, figure out some tools, customize it. It's going to make it the best way to help plan your day. So those are changes within our existing weather station list. And then let's talk a little bit about our new weather station map. You may have noticed in the beginning of the season, our map was not fully functional. It has since come online during the early winter, and its functionality continues to improve. And what the weather station map represents here is a joint project between several avalanche centers, U.S. Forest Service avalanche centers, and run by the National Avalanche Center, to have a similar look and feel when you go to another avalanche center and you look at their weather station data. The really powerful part of this map is that you'll see our stations in orange, and what I mean by our stations, I mean the NWAC network, and then you'll see SNOTELs in green here. So this is the first time where it's really easy to view these two networks side by side. And within this map view, we can view any single parameter for the latest data. So combined with the SNOTEL data, I'm getting a really good idea of what's going on temperature-wise in the crystal area. And I can mouse over and a little pop-up box will show me the latest readings that stations are recording. if we go back to these station labels, we've got all these different parameters to choose from. So if we want to see how windy it is, we can go wind speed average, and see what's the difference between Camp Muir and Paradise in a single map view. So really powerful there, easy to mouse around, nice display. And then we also have a table view. So this is a little bit different take on our traditional tables, in that it does combine, again, our stations with snowtells, and it's broken out by avalanche zone. And you can sort by, if you're going skiing in the Mount Baker area and you want to know, hey, what have the temperatures been? You can sort them by temperature from coldest to warmest, or vice versa, and take a look at the kind of the elevations of where these stations are, and get an idea of just a profile of what's going on, both horizontally and vertically within the area you want to ski. And if you want to go check out the single station, you go ahead and click on it, and you're going to get all the information associated with that table, that station in table format. So again, a really powerful way to view the data, different than we've ever offered before. And I think moving forward, we want to make some more changes that are going to help our users interact with the weather station data and make it even easier to navigate. So the hard work as far as setting this up on the back end and populating the databases and streamlining that whole workflow process has been done over the last year. And now we want to make it, we want to make sure you're aware of these changes, and also work on making it easier for you to access the weather station data in the future. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the weather station map. Let's pick a station here. We're going to choose Mount Baker Heather Meadows station at 4210. And we already reviewed the power of looking at this single weather station in the table view. Here in this single weather table view, we've got 24-hour, 7-day table, and then you can also do a custom date. So if you're trying to target weather station data over a specific storm, and you can go here and set your own dates. There's some more graphing tools which were different than the graphs that we looked at earlier. We can have a pretty straightforward and simple temperature plot with RH, precipitation, and this is also going to respond to the single 24-hour, 7-day, or custom date view. And then snow. And while these graphs are not quite as powerful as some of those graphs that we showed earlier, I'm going to go to a site with wind here, so the top of Pandome. What's really neat is that you can see a wind rose, which is going to take your prescribed time period, pre-selected, and it's going to show you which way the wind was blowing and put it into these bins of calm, light, moderate, stronger to extreme. So this is for, backcountry skiing, what aspects were loaded. This is a pretty powerful tool. It's very specific to the weather station and its biases for observing wind direction versus what may be seen in other parts of the range. But it does give you a really good idea of where the wind was coming from and how strong it was over a period, and what aspects might be loaded in that area. So, and as far as toggling back and forth between our grouped weather stations, which is more than one weather station, those kind of older tables, and this newer single station format, we've got these easy to use links here, which will take you to either the tables, or you can go back to those other graphs. So again, when you're looking at our weather station data, decide if you want to look at several stations at the same time within the area, or you really just kind of trying to target one weather station and you want to look at information just for that specific point. So we've got a lot of tools, and we hope you use them.